Alright, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to thin out your seedlings once you've started them, but I guess just real quick, if anyone was doubting my previous video about starting seeds and whether I had any idea what I was talking about, I think you can see that I do an okay job of starting some seeds. So when you have this many seedlings, the next job is to thin them out, because you really don't need 3, 4, 5, 6 plants in every one. You really want to narrow it down to 1 plant per. So without further ado, I'm going to zoom in and trim out a few and just show you how I do it. Okay, what I'm going to do here is probably the sort of thing that will make a lot of new gardeners cringe, maybe even some older gardeners, but at the end of the day, you just don't want too many seedlings. You really only want 1 plant per. Yes, especially with tomatoes, because they just love to put out new roots anywhere on their stem if they can. You could separate all these out. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's all that good of an idea. I think you just run a lot of risk of damaging your plants. And if you're thinking, why can't you leave a bunch in, especially if you're planting them outside, the plants don't love to compete. So instead of like 3 plants in the same area that look great, you're going to have 3 pretty lousy plants, or maybe 2 lousy plants and 1 okay plant. It's just not a good way to go about it. So I'm going to need these. And now there's a certain amount of subjectivity involved here in picking which plants get to survive and which don't. I'm generally looking for ones with healthy dark green leaves, thick stems, preferably, in my opinion, shorter spaces between the internodes, between the sets of leaves. I mean, this is a real good example of when it's easy right here. You got a stronger looking plant here, followed by a little baby plant that is just not going to do very well. It's nice to have a nice small sharp pair of scissors. You see, I just cut that out. So that's all there is to it. I mean, just to demonstrate again, let's see, we've got a bunch of plants here. So over here, let's see if you can see this, but this plant here looks a little better than this one in terms of the color of the leaves. So I'm going to cut this, well, this one, I'm going to cut it. If I end up having any open spots, which I don't think I'm going to, I might perform a little transplant, or if something looks really sickly. But other than that, I plan on cutting it down to 1 plant per. So I'll run you through here. Let's see. See, we got a whole bunch in here. This is sort of the downside of starting all these, is the pain of killing plants off. But this one looks okay. I kind of like this one. Looks a little better. Just the leaves look slightly healthier than the other ones. These all look sort of weak to me. Not in love with any of them, so they're not going to make the cut. You gotta be careful you don't act. This is why it's good to not have like your giant pair of orange fiskars. You don't want to accidentally cut out good plants that you weren't intending to cut out. So there's, in my opinion, it's now between these two. This one's a little further along, but if I can separate this, I think this one just a tad thicker and shorter, so I think it's gonna prove to be my favorite. Yep. So I'm not gonna bore you. I'm going to just sit here and cut my way through these things, and maybe I'll come through and just show you when it is all said and done. And for those of you who are sort of watching these in a series, my good number of my Trinidad scorpions came up, which I was told they're pretty fickle in terms of germination, but I started 2 times 12, 24 seeds, and it looks like only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 didn't come up, and I didn't multi-plant those because I didn't have so many seedlings. So whatever 19 out of 24 is, that's a pretty good germination rate in my opinion. Another downside to these water beds is everything stays so wet that you do get some like algae type buildup on top, which I don't love, but it is what it is, and I'll probably transfer these into bigger containers where that won't happen before too long anyway. I've already got roots coming out of the bottoms of these things, so probably within a week these will be put into bigger containers. So not gonna ramble on any longer. It's really simple. Look for short, stout plants, stouter plants, healthier, darker greens, that sort of thing. No signs of disease, etc., etc., and you'll do a good job of picking your plants and thinning them out. And don't feel bad about thinning them out. You could do surgery if you want, but I don't think it's worth the effort because seeds really aren't very expensive. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Well, wasn't a whole heck of a lot of fun, but there it is. Every cell thinned down to 1 plant. I probably missed 1 or 2. I'll spot it later. But I think I did it. And there you have it. That's why you thin them out, and maybe I'll update in a couple of weeks, show you the benefits. Probably should have left one with a few extra plants in it just to prove my point, but trust me, I got a lot of experience here. It's definitely the right move to thin them out.